I want to introduce Ryan Gorman, back here in the corner. Here he comes. Oh, I'll tell you one more thing. I only called him about 3 weeks ago, and he said, sure, I will. It's my anniversary, but I'll run in and do it, and then I'll be back for dinner. So I want to thank him for doing that.
Morning, folks. Thank you so much for coming out. I really appreciate it. We're going to cover a lot. We're going to talk about where we're going and how we're going to get there. We're going to talk about the ideas that you generated that we've tried to put into action, how we're learning from you to make sure that you plus us leads to you having an exceptional life. That's really our goal. It's our mission, our mantra. When things come up, people say, I'm not really sure. Is this going to help our agents to live a more exceptional life? If it will, let's do it. If it won't, maybe not. So first we'll talk about how we do that, and then we'll get into a little bit of what we're doing and where we're going together. So again, we'll try and run through a lot in a hurry. I'll try to slow my speech down a little bit. I talk a little bit too quickly, but I want to hopefully get to some questions and answers as well if you have anything that we want to cover toward the end. So I'll try and go a little quickly. First, let's talk about our core 4 values. So how we think about delivering value for you every day, we've packaged within the core 4. Production power is where we're going to spend a lot of our time today, because if you spend 10 minutes with George talking about anything but growing your business, he'll get you right back to growing your business, right? So we'll focus on how we're going to grow your business with production power. But there's more to it than that. We'll speak a little bit about each of the others. Coaching to confidence, for instance, is about getting you to the next level, the one-on-one group and learning opportunities to get you to where you want to be, to clarify your vision, your focus, and then deliver for you what you need to get to that next level. Wealth Builder is something we're going to talk about a little bit here today, too. There may even be some breakout sessions on it. The concept of Wealth Builder is really simple. The work you do today should benefit you into the future. For many of you, you're excellent planners, and so this hasn't been a problem. But for many of you, you're too busy focused on your business to worry much about your future. You're worried more about your clients than you are about yourself. That makes you great about what you do, but that means we need to be a better partner for you to give you opportunities to ensure your wealth and ensure that the work you do today lasts you well into whatever the next phase may be. And that's really what Wealth Builder is all about. And finally, culture of awesomeness. Today is a great example of that, right? Trying to give you the reward, recognition, learning opportunities, and togetherness to make sure you have the inspiration and energy to do the work that you need to do. So before we get into each of these, and we'll spend most of the time on production power, let's talk a little bit about how we think about creating and delivering some of the packages that we do for you. First of all, when we talk about building a program, building a product, building software, we think about building with you, not for you. If we were just building for you, that would be great, but it probably wouldn't be as great as we could be. So we partner deeply with you. How many people went to the last Gen Blue? A show of hands. Okay. If you were there, how many of you went to the Innovation Lab? It was kind of off to this. Okay, great. Some people cycled through. We had 300 or 400 folks come through and spend a good amount of time with us. The Innovation Lab was a room about a quarter the size of this room, blank walls all around, and empty boxes. Beside all the boxes, there were magnets or stickers on the side that were representative of something that you would do every day, some task that you would accomplish, reaching out to your sphere, looking up what the market's looking like, pulling up statistics to share with your clients, or looking at how your inventory is doing today, on a number of other things as well. Each one of those boxes represented a task you might want to do, and the team, if you walked in, they would orient you, and they'd say, hey, we just want to know what you want your screen to look like in the morning. When you walk in and you get started, how would you like to get started and why? And we'd sit there and take a ton of notes. So we had a bunch of teams who just kind of play anthropologist, watch you move the boxes around, ask you why you did this, why you did that, and how you'd like to work. They did that for hours and hours and hours every day just to learn from you before they started writing a single bit of code, before they even started thinking about what the new product to replace the gateway should look like. Then they came up with pictures, wireframes we call them, that would actually represent what the first page would look like. And they shared that with a couple hundred people. They said, what do you think? And you said, well, this is okay, maybe not this over here, and I don't really understand this. Then they developed a beta product. Didn't tell you how to use it, brought hundreds of agents in, put it in front of them, and said, here's a few tasks we would like you to accomplish. We're not going to tell you how to do it. We're not going to train you on it. But we just want you to try to see how it works. And we timed every single thing. Wow, it took them 37 seconds to figure out how to get to this particular place. That's no good. It needs to be under 3 seconds. How can we change that? Maybe we need to move this box up, change the name of this product so it's more clear what it is, and then brought another few hundred people in. Oh, great, we got from 37 seconds to 4 seconds. We're almost there. And then we do it again and again before we lit up the first product. And then that became Desk. So if you log on to the gateway, you see a little bug at the top that says, hey, you want to try a new experience? We call Desk. If you do, click here. When you go in, you like it, you play around, that's great, you can stay. If you don't like it, you can go right back to the gateway. So we didn't rip away something that you were accustomed to bring you something new. We experimented our way into it. It's still being experimented today across the country in beta. We're learning from it constantly. There's little feedback buttons all over Desk that are asking you what you think of it. So far, a couple thousand of you have given us feedback of things that you want to do differently, and that team's constantly processing that. That's the way that we're thinking about product now. That's the way that we're thinking about everything we do, and that's how we're going to be working to deliver for you. When I say we, it really is the entire company, but it's particularly the studio. So I like to say the studio is the bar none biggest and hands down best marketing agency for agents in the country. We've always had hundreds of marketing professionals around the country working on your behalf, but we never organized it quite the way that we have now. We've truly created a national marketing agency. This team of almost 400 people around the country has been augmented with user experience experts, graphic designers, and technologists to aid those who already know this business well and serve you every day to bring you the next level of product. So when we got the team together and we said, great, you're the biggest and the baddest, you're the best at what you do, what would you like to do for our agents? They said the first thing we need to do is clean out the closet. We have too much stuff. We had 111 agent-facing marketing products. Not every agent everywhere saw 111 of them, but many saw most of those. That is impressive, but also impossible. 111 is nuts. There's no way that you even knew what was out there. In fact, I would oftentimes go out and visit offices and speak with agents, and they'd say, you know what, we should have this. And I'd say, okay, we do have that. We actually have 3 of those. But we didn't do a really good job of telling you about it and making sure that it was easy and simple for you to use, right? So the team said, get rid of this stuff. We had 111. Last year alone, we got rid of 88. Since then, we've gotten rid of a few more. On the right side of the screen there, you see about a dozen products. That's what we're getting down to before we build from there. So the team said the first thing we need to do is get rid of what doesn't make a difference. Now, we eliminated 88 products. I've heard almost no noise about that, which means people just were not using them. They were not adding value. They didn't care. In many cases, they were just in their way when they were trying to get to the thing they actually do use, right? So we cleared the decks, cleaned the slate, and then looked at what we should build from here, right? So we're now in a good position to be able to build and start to deliver. So we had to think about how do we build and deliver. So we've got a few personae up there. So at the top of the screen, you see, for instance, a new agent to the business. You see an agent who's been in the business a little while and is relatively productive, but wants to grow their business to the next level. Maybe someone who's thinking about forming or growing a team, or perhaps joining a team. And then maybe someone who's experienced and well on their way in the business, but is already thinking about the next step, perhaps thinking about succession planning. All of these folks have different needs at different points in time in their career, but also different points in time in any individual transaction. So as we think about what to build, we thought about their individual journeys. What was missing, or what wasn't clear or supportive enough at any individual point in their journey of a transaction or of their career, and how could we augment that? How could we develop something that would serve them at the point in time that they most needed it? What we found was there was definitely some gaps. In other cases, we had too many products trying to serve the same need without enough clarity. So this is how the team begins to think about the product development journey that we're on together, and we constantly work at this. So if you're in the marketing group working on product, you're looking at this all the time, you're constantly tweaking it, and you're also challenging us and saying, you know what, I had a conversation with an agent the other day that didn't really fit this roadmap. I think we need to change it and think about it a little bit differently because of a technology that has evolved, or a consumer sentiment that's changed, or they're hearing something from their clients that's different than what they were hearing before. So this is a living document, and we use it every day. Underlying the overall product architecture conversation is what I refer to as open architecture. I said this the other day in an interview at Idman, and everyone said, that sounds great. I have no idea what open architecture actually is. Could you please explain it? So I wanted to explain it a little bit here, or at least explain how we think of it. If you have an iPhone, when you got your iPhone, it had probably every app you needed to be able to do everything you could possibly do on your phone, right? So it had a default mail app, it had Safari for surfing the web, it had Apple Weather, Apple Maps, you name it, it probably had a thing that you could use, right? But if you have an iPhone, you've probably also downloaded other apps. Maybe you prefer Waze over Apple Maps because you're stuck in traffic and that does a good job of rerouting you. Maybe you were used to using Gmail and you wanted to use that, so you're able to download that app pretty easily. Right? So that is our version of open architecture. Apple gave you great products that you could use at any point in time for the tasks that you wanted, but if you chose something different, it also made it super easy for you to go into the App Store, in 30 seconds, download what you preferred, be up and running and already using it. That's the approach that we're taking. We will have a great company-developed product for every one of the moments that truly matter for you, but we will also make it incredibly easy for you to use the products that you prefer to use. So going out and developing relationships with the biggest companies or the best companies that develop products that even compete with our products, making sure you have the biggest discount of anyone, which we can definitely secure because we are the biggest out there, making sure that you have a delightful experience, that you can download and use whatever you want to use very easily on our system, and that it's another level of integration. So when we talk about APIs, that all sounds nice, when we're programs talking to programs, and that sounds like good tech, but how does it make my life better? Here's how it does. If you use Apple Maps or you use Waze when you're driving, hopefully you don't have the experience where you're trying to unlock the phone when you're driving. You're trying to do Face ID at 90 miles an hour on the highway, trying to figure out how to unlock it so you can use your directions, right? No, because Apple has a deep integration with Waze, for instance, or Google Maps, and it allows you to not have to think about resetting the lock screen when you're using Maps, right? And saying, well, make sure it doesn't lock after 10 seconds because I don't want that to happen while I'm driving. Apple said, no problem, we'll take care of that for you. You don't even need to think about it. When you're using your Mail app, it goes dark after 10 seconds. When you're using your Maps app, it doesn't. It stays on for the entire journey, right? That's the next level of integration that makes it slightly easier for you to work. And that's the kind of stuff that our approach to open architecture will do. Use a third-party application on our system, and you won't have to enter your information twice. You won't have to duplicate entries. When there's a conflict of entries, you have two different contact databases and there's a conflict, we should be able to intelligently help you to reconcile those two things. And we should be able to help you do tasks from one system that relate to another system, not have to keep hopping back and forth among different systems. We'll talk a little bit about how that's coming to life, but that's an underlying principle as we're thinking about how to develop products for you. And when we think about how to develop products for you, I don't think that the false choice that right now is out there in the industry makes very much sense. So there's two things that are happening in the industry today. One is people are saying, with regard to the open architecture, companies are saying either, we think we need to develop absolutely everything that you use and then beat you about the head and ears until you use it and love it as much as we do when we developed it for you, or we're not going to develop anything for you because we don't think that brokers should be in that business, right? Both ends of the spectrum, I think, are wrong. I think our approach to develop a great product that you can use if you want, but also make it easy for you to use something else, is the right approach. And I think, frankly, many of those companies that are going down the road of trying to make everything and anything you could ever possibly need are going to realize the error of their ways here relatively soon, because they've really just started to try and accomplish that. And I think they're going to end up spending a lot of their time doing is trying to convince people to love what they're building, as opposed to building what people love. We're going to focus on building what people love and facilitating you to use what you love on our system. The second false choice, I think, is that technology is going to replace agents. People ask this question all the time. If you go to a conference, any industry conference, there's probably at least a main stage and probably 3 breakout sessions on, are you going to be replaced by a robot? Is artificial intelligence going to do everything that your clients need instead of you doing it? I personally think that reflects that the people who are saying that don't understand the job that you do. They're maybe going by your job description as opposed to the work that you actually do, which I bet 95% of the work that you actually do is not anywhere near your job description, right? This isn't about just giving clients information. It's about being a trusted advisor, being there for them through thick and thin, understanding their needs better than they understand their needs, sometimes moving into the space of maybe a marriage counselor, as my agent did with my wife and I. So yes, it has been 23 years. Not every day was as good as the first day. But we definitely have learned to live together and grow together, and that's a lot of what you do. How many of your clients thought that they wanted the exact same thing when you were walking through the house with them or searching for this first neighborhood or moving to this town? That's the kind of stuff that AI is not going to be able to mimic and implement. But what artificial intelligence and some of machine learning, what we're developing, can do is save you an enormous amount of time and energy and make life easier for your clients. So whether it's an artificially intelligent chatbot like Ojo that we're piloting in a number of markets that can answer quick and easy questions for your clients so you don't have to, while you can observe the entire conversation and jump in anytime you want. That saves you time. It lets your client text you at 3 o'clock in the morning and not expect a response from you personally, but understand that a bot will get back to them quickly. That's the kind of thing that enables you as opposed to replaces you. It can make you more efficient and be able to deliver a higher level of service. That's where we're going. That's our focus. That's our very deep belief. These people who think that technology is going to replace you perhaps haven't been paying attention. There's more information available in the industry today than ever before to non-industry professionals, right? So a consumer can learn anything and everything they ever wanted about every property in the country, especially if they don't care about accuracy too much. Then there's plenty of information out there for them to get anything they need, right? And they tend not to care too much about accuracy until they find the property that they really want to buy. And yet they're using you more than ever. Not a lot, not more than last year, more than ever. Right? So consumers in this country are using trusted advisors, real estate professionals, to intermediate and broker their transactions more than ever before. It's never been required to use an agent, and it's never been easier to not use an agent. But the information that's available to consumers today is bewildering and overwhelming and misleading, I think, in many cases. Maybe not intentionally so, but there's so much information, it's difficult to even make a choice, right? And it's not just in our industry, it's across the board. If you've been in the toothpaste aisle lately at a supermarket, there are 400 choices, and you probably buy the same thing that you bought for the last 20 years, right? And yet everyone's trying to convince you to do something different. Imagine that when you're trying to actually find where you want your kids to grow up, the kind of school that they want to go to, where you're going to move when you're an empty nester. I mean, these are really big, important, life-altering decisions, and they need you to help make those decisions. But we need to equip, arm, and deliver with and for you better than ever before, so that your customers, your clients, have total confidence they're getting the best of everything when it comes to information, the best of everything when it comes to technology, and the best of you. And that's really what our overall focus is on everything that we're doing. Desk, what I talked about earlier, the replacement of the gateway is just one example of that. Sort of how we develop this for you is really important, and we're going to be doing that much more in the future. How it actually works, being completely configurable, being able to move around every tile and every dial any way that you want, delete the things that you don't want, keep and move up in prominence the things that you do want, and we're just getting started. That approach, that philosophy, really crafting it around you, asking you how you want to work, and then delivering for you, is a great example of how we're going to be developing everything in the future. And this one is still in beta. It's also a great example of open architecture. You're going to see a lot more here in the near future where you're going to be able to go to Desk and see the information that you most commonly wish to access available right in front of you. If you want. If you don't, then just click the X and get rid of it. But if you want, it will be right there for you. Customizing those tiles to be able to show the information that you go off and do yourself. We don't have to guess at what you do. We can watch you work if you want. You can say, you know what, track what I'm doing for a little while here and give me back the stuff that I go to all the time, right? If every time you log into Desk, you go to a product 10, 15, 20, 45 times out of the 75 times you go on, then maybe we should be recommending to you, this is where some of the artificial intelligence comes in, hey, would you like to create a tile that does the thing that you always seem to want to do? If you do, let's go ahead and do that for you, right? These are the directions in which we're moving to just make it a little bit easier. Take the edge off, right? Something you barely notice, but then when you look back, you realize that you're not doing that 3, 4, 5 clicks that you always used to do, right? The best examples of these things are things you don't really notice, but then when you're forced to do it the old way, it feels antiquated, right? And that's really what we're going for. Take the edge off, not a steep learning curve, right? Desk is a good example of that. Here in Pittsburgh, we've got about a third of you, a little more, that are Desk users today. I'd love for more of you to experiment with it, not because I want to push the product, but because I want to learn from you. I want to see what you do and get feedback from you. When you log on to Desk, there's little nodes all over the place where you can give us feedback. I like this, I hate that, what about this, and I have an idea. Those are the best for us. The team is giddy when they get feedback. It's truly like candy for that team. These folks absolutely love it. They're usually texting back and emailing back within nanoseconds to tell you, when I do events like this, I come off stage and somebody says, you know what, I had a thought on that, you should do this. I text them. Usually by the time that person walks to the other side of the room to get a cup of coffee, they've already reached out to them saying, hey, I heard you had feedback, can we talk? Right? That's really what they want. They want to learn and get better. And you've given us a lot of good feedback along the way. So some of these quotes may have even been from people who are here in this room. If you haven't used it yet, please give it a shot. And if you have a minute, give us a little bit of feedback on what you think. Again, it's in beta. We've just started. But we'd love to know what to do next. And the team is standing at the ready. Usually, when I get up and I talk excitedly about these new products, it goes something along these lines like, hey, young man, you seem very excited about all of that. That's terrific for you. Could you please just do this stuff for me? Because I really don't want to learn more things and have to do more things, but it'd be great if you could do more things for me. Fortunately, the answer is yes. With our concierge products that we'll be rolling out here during the year, we'll talk much more about here in a second, that's all about doing for you. creating a DIY, a do-it-yourself experience for those of you who want to do it yourselves, but then also augmenting that with white glove service. So not just the innovative technology, but the white glove marketing service to be able to deliver for you if you choose to avail yourself of those services. So first up, we'll talk about Design Concierge. This is already live out in Southern California. We've heard a lot from folks who say, you know, the look that I have online, the look that I have in my collateral is not necessarily the look that I want. I've hired professionals to help me, and it's still not quite what it needs to be. I hesitate to get out there as much as I should on social or in mailers because I'm not sure I'm presenting myself really the way that I want to. Or I had a great look and feel, but it feels a little bit dated now. It's not reflective of what I want to show to my clients, so could you help me with that? And in fact, we have. We've helped many. The marketing team across the country has helped many individually, one-on-one, be able to design a better look and feel. But we thought we could productize that. We thought we could add some technology to that experience to make it even better, and to give some of you who prefer a more DIY approach a tool to be able to use. So the Design Concierge product allows you to use essentially a personality test. You log on, you go through maybe 100 different looks and feels of different colors and formats and play around with it. When you pick some that you like, 1, 2, or 3, that you say, these are things that I kind of enjoy, you can click on those, and then in the product itself, play with them some more, personalize them some more, design them the way that you want to be exactly what you want. And if it turns out you were able to do it yourself with a few clicks and you really like the outcome, great, perfect. We'll give you the file that you need in the right format to send to the printers, to use for social collateral assets, to do everything you need to do. But if you say this is close, but I'm not really sure, here's 3 that reflect where I want to go, but man, I'm not a design professional. I would love someone's help. Great. Avail yourselves of one of the concierges. These are the exact same designers who design our stuff across the company, across all of Coldwell Banker. The folks who design professionally for a living will design for you. They understand our business, they understand how you work, and they understand how to work with you to be able to design better for you. And the ultimate result is, I think, a beautiful portrait of yourself that you can put forth to your clients and the overall market and sphere. When we think about what to do with that, what to do with the collateral that you've developed, we think about going to your clients. Let's first talk about your listing clients. Listing Concierge is another product that we've recently developed. It's live in about 1/3 of the country today, and it's coming everywhere. Design Concierge is live only in Southern California today. That's going to go everywhere soon, too. We need to learn a little more before we launch across the nation. Listing Concierge is live already in about 1/3 of the country. The general idea behind Listing Concierge is, before you go to a listing appointment, choose what level of marketing you would like us to do for your client. Then own it totally as your own. Walk into the listing appointment, describe to the client what you're going to be able to do for them in a way that blows them away and blows away the competition and feels completely different than what they could get anywhere else. When they've made their selection of both you and your marketing that you're going to do for their listing, you come back and tell us the address, what plan they picked, and when you'd like to schedule photography. And then you are done. Depending upon where we roll this out, so for instance, this is going to come to Pittsburgh, George and the entire team are going to work with your ideas to design what it should be here in Pittsburgh. What's the right way to market a property here in Pittsburgh? In what publications and what should we be doing online? What should the emphasis be? What should we do more of here and less of there? All of that will be designed locally here for you in Pittsburgh. What should the different levels be? For instance, silver, gold, and platinum. What should the options be for you? Will all be designed here for you. But once you've chosen the package, you give us those 3 pieces of information and we're done. In some places, we don't do the copywriting because we were told that people didn't want us to do the copywriting. In other places, we do the copywriting as an option. So that if you want to say, you know what, it's got a great porch and an awesome backyard, beyond that, just look at the pictures and try and develop the best copyright you possibly can, we can do that. The next step you have after you tell us the address, what package you chose, and when to schedule photography, the very next step is for you to proof the finals and then be done. When you are done, you'll be able to get a complete marketing package for your listing. Again, designed here in Pittsburgh for whatever makes sense here in Pittsburgh, but some of the examples of what makes sense elsewhere are here. 36 high-definition photographs, in some cases aerial photography. People are asking about drones, so we'll be adding drone photography in some areas where that's become a little bit more prevalent. High-quality print, high-quality copy, advertising on digital, social, in print, magazines where it makes sense, local and monthly, dailies, even television programs. In some parts of the country, we've got television shows now running of our properties with actors doing voiceovers and walkthroughs of individual properties and being able to tell a customer that their property is on television. What this does is truly impress the listing client, absolutely blows them away. It is differentiated and like nothing they've seen before. Oftentimes the feedback we get back is, my client said, this is amazing. I think the last guy said he put it in the MLS. I've never seen anything like this before. There's a couple of big advantages to that. For one, we're actually seeing an increase in our average broker commission rate in markets that are using this product on listings that are using this product. An increase. Now, across the country, average broker commission rate's not increasing. It's not decreasing much, only about 1 basis point a year, so 1/100th of 1%, but it's not increasing. In markets where this has been live, on average, we've got between 15 and 17 basis points higher broker commission on properties that have listing concierge. So why is that? Why would a client be willing to pay so much more for that? Like, sure, they're impressed, but really they're offering to pay more? No, of course not. What they're doing is, when the question comes up and they awkwardly say, this is great, I love you, but could you do it for less? Could you do it for 6 rather than 7? Could you do it for 5 rather than 6? The answer that agents who are using listing concierge have is, we can talk about what I could do for the lower rate, but I can't do this for the lower rate. So if you want all of this, then it's going to be a full commission. And typically the client says, okay, that's fine, my wife made me ask, I'm sorry. So sure. And that leads to a higher and more full and more reflective of your value commission, all because we're able to use our scale and our expertise to deliver for you a better way to package the work you were already doing for your clients. In some cases, agents have told us, I was already doing a lot of this. Maybe I was even doing more. But you're doing it more efficiently, more quickly, and less expensively than what I was doing before, and you've packaged it in a way that allows me to tell the story and truly does win the listing, right? So that is absolutely crucial. Listing concierge is actually put together by humans. So we have great products and tools that allow these humans to work more efficiently. This is only a small segment of the team, but these are the folks who, prior to stepping into this role, have been doing work in our offices for our agents, helping to market their listings individually. They know our business, they know our industry, they love what they do, and they love doing it for you. So now on the back end of technology, what we're developing for the next iteration of Listing Concierge is going to make their lives easier. It's also going to make your lives easier. So when you proof, for instance, today, we give you a product back that says, how do you like these photographs? This one's good, that one's bad, get rid of this, move this around. Well, we can make it a little easier and intuitive. For instance, just click them in the order that you love them. Just put a little heart next to the one that you love the most, and then the second most, and the third most. We remember that and then use that. When we create collateral for you, if there's one big hero shot, then the one picture that you love the most comes up first. We don't need to have lots of back and forth conversation about, well, I really wanted this one. Actually, these 4 are the best. If there's a collateral piece that only has 5 pictures on it, we can just know by your actions without you having to tell us which ones you probably wanted on there. Then we can give you back the proof, and if we got it wrong, great. But we don't have to have a lot of back and forth with you to be able to develop that. One of the biggest advantages of this program, in addition to giving you a lot of your life back, is one of the pieces that team came up with. So that team right there, let's see if I probably mess it all up by going back to 9. There we go. One of the members of that team came up with an idea. They had a wedding invitation. I think maybe one of them were getting married or a friend was getting married. They had a wedding invitation that came, and it was high gloss. It was gold. It was a big envelope, and it was gold, high gloss. When they opened it up, it was really glossy and full and really impressive. And they thought, like, you know, I would open this no matter what. I would open this if it came to my house. Imagine if our mailers were that differentiated, if our mailers looked as different in the big stack of mail as this did, this wedding invitation. So they put that together. So now either gold or silver, depending upon where you are in the country that we've launched this. Again, individual choices vary in various markets. You get 50, 100, 150 of those mailers. It's a fold out, sometimes a trifold, sometimes a bifold of the listing, right? Beautiful photos, right? Beautiful hero shot and a few other photos. That's great. It really is a differentiator. When you're on the listing appointment, you show an example of it. It's very impressive. Clients love it. The best thing, though, is we like to talk about turning one listing into 3. George would probably make it one listing into 24. But when you get that mailer, you've got the hero shot on the front, you've got the bifold of beautiful pictures and maybe a little bit of information about the property. On the back is a description of what you do to market a property. It's your picture, your contact information, and a summary of Listing Concierge. We don't call it Listing Concierge. We don't say it's what the company does. It's you saying, this is how I market properties. So think about that. every one of the people who gets this listing and is impressed by it, they're probably not going to buy the house based upon the collateral that comes to their house, but it made the listing client feel better, and maybe there is a chance that they'll know someone who's interested in the property. But most of all, they flip to the back and they see you did this. So when it comes time for them to sell, who do you think they're going to call? That has generated more transactions than we anticipated. Far more transactions than we anticipated for the clients where it's been, or for the areas where it's been live the longest. It was a little thing, a little tweak. I thought it was a good idea, but I didn't expect to get the feedback that we're getting today about how much that differentiates our agents in their market. So little things that make a big difference. The next great idea will probably come from you, so when I beg for feedback, please give it. Clients for Life. It's a powerful program that does a simple thing that delivers for you. Where this program is live, we are delivering into the inbox of your clients every month something of value. So you upload your sphere, if you so desire, into the database, which is run by a third-party organization. You click whether or not you want us to send mailers that are for you, branded with your branding, your contact information, out to the email addresses of your clients. Right now, it's just email, and we'll see as we go along whether we end up doing mailed collateral and some other things. If you do, every single month, we will reach out to your clients with something of true value. This is not Happy Groundhog Day. This is not don't forget to move your clocks back, right? Anyone can do those. This is something differentiated for you. It might be a custom developed piece of local events that are of value to them, that are of interest to them for a specific region, town, or area. It may be that we've gone out and purchased 100 tickets for a minor league baseball game, or fewer tickets perhaps for a professional football game, and we've automatically entered every one of your clients that you signed up for this into that raffle. They're notified of the event, they're notified that you organized it, and they're notified that they've already been entered to win the raffle. If they win that raffle, you're notified and not them. You're told one of your clients won. Isn't that terrific? How would you like to deliver the tickets and the news to them? You get to call them or drop by. This has generated more business than we anticipated as well. Sacramento is one of the areas where this has been live the longest. I met with a couple of agents who had recently joined us from a RE/MAX firm out in Sacramento, and I asked them about a number of the programs. They gave rave reviews on Listing Concierge and other things, but Clients for Life is one where I said, well, have you gotten any business from Clients for Life? It had only been live for, I guess, under a year maybe when I had that conversation. And one said, only one so far, but I only started a few months ago. Only one so far from doing nothing, from doing an upload, right? So that's terrific, only one. And the other said 4. But the one who said 4 told a powerful story. He unfortunately had a life event that took him a little bit out of his business. For about 4 months, his head was not in the game. He was a very, very productive sales associate, but he just wasn't focused on his business for very understandable reasons. This was running in the background the entire time. He didn't really think about it, but when he looked back, 4 transactions that he had closed that year came solely from this running in the background while he was focusing on something other than his business. That's powerful. That also, frankly, for me, it was heartwarming. But it was powerful that we could help raise his game. We can ensure that the work that he did choose to do, the work that you choose to do, to focus on and market to your sphere, is more specific. You don't have to worry as much about the broad-based, constant contact out to your clients. You can really work specifically on targeting something that you saw them do, something you wanted to reach out to them about personally, while we're constantly touching them in the background. I thought that was powerful. Interestingly, the other, who said she had 1 transaction from this, told a great story. She talked about how she had a client who won the raffle. She went to deliver the tickets. She had no expectation because she had just helped them purchase their forever home. They were empty nesters, they were done moving, and they bought a home they didn't have to do much with. A low-maintenance home, and they were there until, as they told her, we will be carried out. She went to deliver the tickets. They were very excited. They ended up just chatting. She said she was extremely busy, and she was a little bit tired because she'd been doing so much, but she was excited about the market because she's working on a new development across town, and she was pretty pumped about it. They'd heard about it. They hadn't seen it yet, though. They started asking her a lot of questions. She was pretty excited. Long story short, that conversation led to them buying in the new development and listing the property that she had just helped them purchase a year and a half prior, right? All because she showed up. She had something of value, it was differentiated, and she had a real, genuine conversation with them. She didn't target them, she didn't reach out to them, she didn't harass or door knock. She had an opportunity to contact them because of this program running in the background, and that's really what it's all about. And these are some examples of what your clients will see in their inbox every month as a result of this program. So we take the design seriously, we take the customization of the programs very seriously. All of that is locally driven, right? So what makes sense in Pittsburgh might not make sense in Sacramento and vice versa. So these programs come from you. When you want to know how they're doing, okay, they're all branded for me, but what are they actually doing for me? I'm mailing my clients all the time. I don't really know what the return on investment is of the work that I do. We're giving you a tool called Prospect Square. In Prospect Square, all of the various marketing that you do to your sphere and beyond your sphere can be captured with that data brought back to you in a visually appealing way, so that you can actually know what you need to know without surfing through spreadsheets. Some of you actually love surfing through spreadsheets and love doing the analysis. That's a relative minority of you. Few of you are still in that camp. Many of you say, I spend money and I have no idea what I get for it. I do it because I feel like I should. I want to invest in myself and invest in my business, but I don't actually know. Should I be spending more over here or less over there? I'm buying leads, but maybe they're poor quality, but I did get that one deal from them, so I guess I should keep doing it, but that one deal didn't really pay enough to make up for the others. I don't really know, right? So we're trying to give you a tool to be able to capture all that information, use what we know about various conversion rates, and give it back to you in a way that shows you what's working best for you and what we'd recommend you do more or less of. Even things like Clients for Life. Capturing the open rates, the read rates, the click-through rates. How many of your clients actually clicked on the links or watched the videos or signed up for the RSVPs? That's some information that we can give back to you. And you can click down individually on each one of those clients and see what they've actually been doing with you. So Prospect Square is live now in 17 markets in beta, coming soon to a theater near you. But this is an example of what we're trying to do on the background, capturing a lot of information to make life easier for you, to give you the intuition that doesn't require a lot of work. Within Prospect Square, we give market snapshots and a number of other details that some of the early testers have told us, this is great, but I'm still going to a couple different systems. Could you pull information from those systems directly into my prospecting software to be able to allow me to have it there and make decisions based upon it? So that's what we're doing. So another example of us integrating multiple systems with an open architecture to try to deliver better for you. That is production power. I ran through that relatively quickly, but I'll be hanging around for a little while afterwards for questions, no worries, and there'll be a lot more to come. This is all stuff that exists today, is already in testing, beta, pilot, or live rollout somewhere around the country. But there's more. Not just production power, but our core 4 includes coaching to confidence. Some of you have already participated in some of our real learning activities like AMP or Outlist, Outlast. How many have participated in one of those 2 programs, for instance? Great. Awesome. So, George, I think you kept an eye on who didn't raise their hand, and you'll be getting them into some of these training programs here. What our Coaching to Confidence program is all about is designing programs based on your feedback to deliver better for you. So what the Real Learning team literally does now, it's not that we think of, what do we think people should learn, right? We ask all of you, what would you like to learn or what would you like to do? Like, for instance, you might not tell us that what you really want to learn more about is how to get more listings, but you may have told us you want more listings. So then we've gone out to the best listing agents in the country based purely on data, got information from all of them to ask how you actually work, literally had hundreds of telephonic conversations with them, recorded those conversations, took the ideas and boiled them down to the best actions that you could take to try to generate the results that you seek. We did a similar thing with AMP, people getting started in the business or trying to restart or kickstart their business, and then we track the results. So we don't just say, hey, we've got a program, we love it, we're really excited about it, but we're in training, so we're excited about everything. We actually look and see what the results are. Who shows up and what do they do afterwards? Did they close more transactions? Did they make more calls? Did they have more communication? Are they increasing their production at a different rate from those who didn't attend the training? If the answer is no, then we kill it, and we come up with something more, different. We modify it. If the answer is yes, we do more of whatever worked, right? That's what we're constantly doing on the back end for our training programs. And George talked about teams, and I think there's going to be some good breakouts today about teams as well. We think we can do more to help you understand whether you want to start a team, how, if you do start a team, you actually get underway. What are all the mistakes that the last person who was just like you and did start a team made so that we can make sure you don't make those mistakes? And what are the things that they wish they knew before they ever decided to start a team that they can tell you about today, and we can capture that and give that back to you? Frankly, a lot of people start teams because they want to take their business to the next level, and it may not have actually been the best move for them. There may have been another step they could have taken to more efficiently get to the next level. Others started a team only too late. They should have realized a long time ago, but they didn't know really how to get going, how to get underway. They didn't have the forms down. They didn't have the basic structures down or a good understanding. We can give that to you. We should give that to you. George has organized it so that you're going to get some of that today, learning from the best in the business here in Pittsburgh, but we can learn from the best in the business all over the nation and give that to you in a more easily digestible format. And that's some of what we're doing with the agent teams training. Wealth Builder is something that I'm personally working a lot more on right now. I'm passionate about it. I truly believe you're not thinking enough about your future, and we need to be a better partner for you to do so. I'm not thinking about my future much either, but I'm thinking a lot about your future, and that's what excites me. So I'm looking a lot at what programs we can add and how we can boost our Wealth Builder programs for you. Obviously, we have the health insurance concierge service to be able to deliver for you, which over 17,000 of you are taking advantage of right now. We're going to be introducing and are already piloting wealth expos around the country, which are days solely focused not on you growing your business, but what you should be doing with your income. Just focused on you, bringing in experts, whether they're estate planners, tax experts, investment professionals, or folks working on income property opportunities, bringing people to you so that you can learn from them and take a moment, even take half a day, to think about your own future and investing in yourself. And so we're putting those things together. Also talk about referral rewards. Referral rewards is something we probably don't talk about enough, but this is, I think of it as a thank you. If you've worked with someone in the industry on the other side of a transaction who was an absolute pleasure, who you would love to work with more, who really should be part of our office and part of our company, who you'd like to see grow their business in a way that they can only do here, and you let us know, you let your manager know, you let George know, you let us know that, you know what, reach out to Becky, reach out to Steve. They'd be great to bring into the organization. When they do, we say thank you. 2% of the gross commission income that individual generates in the first 2 years is yours. 1% thereafter for as long as you both shall live with us. And that, to us, is just a thank you gift, right? It's you bringing in, building the culture of our office and us saying thank you for that. That income, of course, comes out of the company's side of the transaction, not either of the agent's sides of the transaction, but it's a simple thank you gift. So we talk about it. I think it oftentimes goes in one ear and out the other. I think people say, you know what, when I introduce you to someone, it's not for the money. It's because I really think that they should be in our office. I would like to work with them more. Great, perfect. We should still thank you. And to give you an idea of how big that thank you can be, we've got dozens of people who just in 2018 alone earned over $10,000 in this program. We have over a dozen people who earned over $35,000 in this program. We have one person who's around $80,000 in this program, all because they introduced us to people who they thought would benefit our culture. Over $80,000, which, by the way, when he started doing it, he said, this is really my kids' college fund. That's how seriously I'm taking this, and that's what's going to fund their college. So when I asked him more recently how it's going with the college fund, he said, it's great, I added a Range Rover to the fund. So this too could be you, something on which to focus. Culture of awesomeness, again, today is all about the culture of awesomeness, delivering for you, rewarding and recognizing your efforts and helping you to grow your business, but there's much more. So the Gen Blue experience is a good one. Many of you raise your hands and you go every year, and hopefully you'll come this year as well. Raise your hand if you have not yet registered for Gen Blue. Okay, you can go to genblueexperience.com on your phone and register. I'll wait. You really should. So I think it's going to be one of the best we've ever had. So many of you have a pretty high bar. You've been to great experiences before. You've been to some that maybe weren't so great. We're doing something this year that we've never done before. We're raising the bar on the Gen Blue experience in Vegas, which I get a lot of feedback on Vegas. Some love it, some don't love it. But I can tell you more people come when we book in Vegas than any other venue ever. I say I don't like Vegas too, and you got to keep going, right? So there is a good experience to be had. We're adding another day that we never had before. We call it RGX. We're bringing everyone together, probably 14,000 people. And if I can pull off a few things that we're still working on and the rest of the team, we're going to be able to announce things at RGX that will truly be impactful to the industry, to your business as well as the industry. So we're working on some things that may change the way that people fundamentally buy and sell in this country. And we're trying to do that for you, right? So many people who are trying to change the way people buy and sell in this country are doing it in large part because they want to enrich themselves. I understand that. Entrepreneurialism and capitalism works in this country very well. But we're trying to ensure that we're the disruptors, that we are moving the game forward. We are moving in a leadership position for you. So we'll talk a little about one of our partners that we're doing that with elsewhere, but we're trying to make sure that if the transaction changes, it changes with you in mind, with you protected and with you rewarded, and with the advisor central to the entire transaction. So we're working with a number of different partners on a number of different products. One of them is Social Concierge. This, George talked about advertising made simple, powered by Tiger Pistol here in Pittsburgh. If you haven't tried it, you should try it. We get a lot of good feedback on that. That is one of 4 different tests that we're running around the country to learn, to inform the eventual development of what we call social concierge. Similarly, social concierge will have a DIY component to it, just make life easier for you if you want to do it yourself, as well as that white glove component to really help take you to the next level. The DIY component might be similar to what you're seeing already with Tiger Pistol, right? Not asking you how much money you would like to spend, but rather asking you what result that you want to get. Are you trying to market a listing, market yourself, grow leads? You take all different approaches when you do that, right? What Facebook has told us with our work with them and their engineering and product teams, we're working directly with the most senior leaders of all the product teams across Facebook. When I go out to Northern California and sit down with Facebook, the actual product managers who manage the central products of Facebook come in and walk us through their roadmap, where they're going and what they're doing. They don't do that just because we're big and we spend a lot of money. They do that because they're trying to figure out how to partner with us differently, right? They see our industry and they see we have greatness to deliver, but it's hard for us to do it in your industry. They've told us that real estate agents are uniquely bad at marketing on Facebook. Like, uniquely bad. Like, I can't stress it enough. They tell stories. They're like, it's like they're trying to waste their own money. And it's not hard to find out why, right? 1, you're incredibly busy. 2, that's not what you signed up for. It's not what you were trying to do. But if you go into target marketing, for instance, in Facebook, there's hundreds of different things you can try to do. You know, you can geo-target and target lookalike audiences and do all kinds of things. It's all there for you. You could do it yourself, but you have no idea, as we talked about earlier, what actually works extremely well. Wouldn't it be great if you could learn from the best at Facebook and then have a tool that facilitates use of those best practices where you don't have to remember them all? And yes, that's the direction that we're going with Facebook. So people are trying to disrupt you and get in front of you with whether it's Zillow or others who are trying to get the consumer before you. We think we can make sure that you are top of mind for your consumers and those who are close to your consumers. So that 1 degree removed from your sphere is incredibly important. People who trust you will hopefully use you again. People who trust you are the ones that you can reach out to really effectively using Facebook and Instagram and other social tools as well. And we can help deliver that for you. We can help reach the audiences that you want to reach. You might be thinking, I might not be great at this, but my sphere is going to work with me. I post to kind of stay top of mind, but they're going to work with me. Many people think that. So we ran a little test. 166,000 different contacts gathered from agents who wanted to participate in one of our pilots. We gathered those contacts and then scrubbed the information to determine who among those contacts transacted in the last year, and then looked to see whether they transacted with the agent who gave us their contact information. Now, what percentage of the time do you think your sphere of influence transacts with you if they transact at all? If someone in your sphere bought a house last year, what percentage of the time do you think they used you? Shout it out. Has someone seen this presentation before and said 10? Come on now. The answer actually is 10, but normally the audience plays along and says 80, 90, 100%. Actually, the most common answer that I get is 80%, somewhere between 70 and 80. Almost always it's above 50 or somewhere around 100%. People think they're relatively close to their sphere. These are people who trust them, have good reason to trust them. It's actually 10% of the time. So let me say that differently. 90% of the time, someone in an agent's sphere of influence who decides to transact in a given year does not use the agent who provided us their contact information. 90% of the time. Now, why? It's not because they didn't like them, right? It's because they weren't top of mind. They weren't there when it mattered. They didn't have that moment in time where they captured their attention and reminded them, here's who I am, and here's what I do, and here's what I did for you. Or, here's what I did for someone who you trust. Just ask them, right? That's what we're trying to deliver for you, and we think we can with the data approach that we're taking, and Social Concierge is going to be part of that. In addition, just like in Design Concierge, we're using the designers that design the beautiful imagery and the collateral that you see developed by Coldwell Banker. We're using the PR professionals that do, for instance, my PR, but don't hold them to that standard. Can I just tell you, the PR team came in a couple months ago. As I said, they were trying to get me to get up on stage more, go do in-min and all these kinds of things. So great, I'm doing it. They said, get over yourself and get out there. So fine, I'm getting over myself and getting out there. And they said, and also we need to work on your look. And they did that. The hand thing, your look, right? So it's another way of saying they know what they're doing, right? And they're very candid and very direct. And so if you come to them with Social Concierge and say, this is all great, and I think I have a look that I like now for a Design Concierge, but how do I get out there? What information do I share? When do I share it? What's the right approach? Consult with me. That's going to be another aspect of Social Concierge as well. Taking you to the next level using best practices without you having to learn them all. That's really the goal. Catalyst is a program that we developed with another of our partners, Home Partners of America. This isn't a program that's live in Pittsburgh today, but Home Partners of America is a lease with a right to purchase program. We help them develop their core product, I don't know how many years ago now, probably 5, 6 years ago, out in Chicago. And that program's a great program, right, for someone who's looking to buy, but for some reason they had a credit event. Maybe they fought with their hospital over a medical bill, but otherwise they have great credit. If someone would just give them a chance and underwrite with them, then they do with a lease with a right to purchase program. They say, well, look at any house in the MLS in any of the markets where we buy, and as long as it's a standalone single-family home with at least 2 bathrooms, for instance, we'll buy it for you. And then you can just lease it from us, you know, we'll guarantee you what the lease rates will be for the next 5 years, 3 years in Texas, and you can buy it from us at any time over that time, and here's the price you can buy it for us from. And we're even going to integrate a mortgage on the back end, so if you want to buy it from us, you can use your first months and last months that you use for the security deposit and convert it into down payment. That's awesome. It doesn't work everywhere. It's only live in a handful of markets, right? There's a lot of different reasons why certain buyers buy in different markets, and it'll keep growing. But we've also developed another product. When these iBuyers came along, you've all heard of Open Door or Zillow Instant Offers or Redfin Now, these kinds of things. These are iBuyers. They're folks who are competing with you now, competing for the attention of your clients. When your client goes online and says, I'd like to sell my home, they'll say, well, we'll give you an offer within minutes, within seconds perhaps, on your home, and we'll stand behind that offer and we'll actually buy. Now, why would a client need to hire you to list their home if they can sell their home online? Well, one reason might be that a lot of these buyers charge a pretty penny for the convenience that they're delivering for you. But that's actually a real insight. If consumers are willing to pay 13, 14, 15, 16% of the value of their home, I've seen over 20%, but more along those lines of the 13, 16% of the value of their home for a more convenient experience, a more certain experience. Maybe they don't have to clean up the house for the open house. Maybe they don't have to yell at the kids every morning before they leave just in case there's going to be a showing today, right? They're willing to pay a pretty penny for that. So when you have the broker commission conversation, when you have the pressure and the challenge on your full commission, it's nice to know that there is a segment of consumers who's willing to pay 2 and 3 times as much as your transaction, as your commission, for maybe a little bit more convenient experience, a little bit easier experience, maybe an experience that gives them something that you're not able to give them today. So we thought, well, why can't we give you that? And it turns out we can. So we can give you a product in the markets where this is live, which think of that as basically the markets where iBuyers are working a lot today. In those markets, we've equipped then those agents with a tool that they can show up and say, I have an option as well. Now, the confidence the agent has is we don't make an offer until they've signed up with you. And they've said that I'm going to list with you. I'm going to transact with you. You're going to advise me on selling, whether it's to an iBuyer or to the general public. And once you sign up, then we'll make you an offer. Now, about half the time, the offers are accepted. That goes up and down. We really just launched this program. It's just piloting today. But the beautiful thing is, if they don't accept the offer, they're almost always listing with us. And so far, 27% of the time, the agents who have tried to use this product have told us they got the listing, and they would not have gotten the listing without this product. Something about that allowed them to have a conversation with the client that was different than what they already had 27% of the time. Now, you know your conversion rate on listing appointments is very high, right? So for 27% of the time, this to have made a difference, that's meaningful to us. We're going to take this to the next level. There's 2 other aspects that we're working on right now with Home Partners, one of which is the thing I'm hoping that we can announce when we're in Vegas. We'll see if we're able to. That could fundamentally change the overall transaction process in this country by using our scale and our know-how to benefit you. So the next big headline you see on Inman or in Riz Media or The Real Deal about how the industry is going to be changed and disrupted is going to have you at the center, is going to disrupt for your benefit, not to your detriment. That's really what we're focused on with all of our partners, including Facebook and Home Partners of America. And this is how you're doing. So in the last year, you did a phenomenal job, right? You crushed it. You're going to do even better this year. George told me so. But you did a phenomenal job last year. This is something of which you should be proud. What does it actually take to sell $2 billion of real estate in Pittsburgh? That's your work and your effort. You should be bragging about this. I'm sure the marketing team develops collateral for you to be able to do so. You should also be bragging about this, the overall larger company of which you are a critical part. You can have a conversation with your clients that says, we are transacting, these data are through September, because until I actually release to the public in a little bit here what the financials are, I can't share them, but this information is a 12-month period of time. And you can make the credible statement to your clients, my company sells a house every waking minute. Every waking minute, right? So think of how, I've been up here for a while. I'm sure you're like, yeah, there's been a lot of houses sold since you've been standing on stage, right? But you can actually make that statement to your clients that your company sells a house every waking minute. That's something of which you should be incredibly proud, and you are a very big part of making that happen. You're doing that For the net result, over 20 years, your company has been the number one, not just the best, but also the biggest in the entire industry because of your efforts. I am proud of that, but I'm proud of that because of what that means for all of you. This is a lot of transactions that have benefited you and your clients across the country over many years, many repeat clients, repeat buyers and sellers who appreciated the service you delivered and wanted to partake in that service again. All powered on the back end by Coldwell Banker, the brand that everyone knows and trusts. It's been around a long time, will be here for many years to come. It's been owning the market for a very long time, and we're going to be taking it to the next level. So we may be announcing some pretty cool things at Gen Blue about the brand itself. We'll see, stay tuned, but I believe we're going to take this into the next generation and the next iteration to power your businesses. And some of the stats that you see here on the side, for instance, we sell more than $1 million homes than any other brand in the entire world. It's something of which we're proud, but there's something for everyone. For every product type and for every agent at every point in their career, Coldwell Banker has something to offer. One of the things we have to offer is Global Luxury, which is a very successful program throughout the country that we're going to be amping up even further to differentiate those luxury properties. But all of this is designed exclusively to be able to tell our story so that you can tell your story better. You can grow your business, deliver for your clients in a way that helps you to live a more exceptional life. Because we only succeed if you succeed, and that's my story. That's it.